Howdy-ho, Andrew here, aka Calf here, aka Shadowson. Welcome to Onion Buns and welcome to another episode of Tales of Neverwinter Nights. So, as always, we're going to continue on with Mavralyn's writing. And today's episode, we're going to be learning about how Arilani met the master assassin, Velgala Jabuk Ravelin. And yeah, so these are written by Mavralyn, and without any further ado, let's get started. Slower to recover this time, Mavralyn finally opened her eyes. Quickly, she raised her mental barriers and strengthened them to withstand any assault. Pain still shadowed her features when she finally looked about the room. Spying the Dark Knight holding the scroll, she told him to hand it over to her. Opening the scroll, she quickly scanned the contents, and the pain seemed to melt away from her face as she smiled. We return to Relatar this day, Theodo. Prepare my things for the departure. As the two traveled, Mavralyn instructed the human male on the ways of the drow, preparing him for his inevitable meeting with the Ilharis. They made their way deep underground. Many miles of dark and winding passages lay between them and their destination, but the trip was swift and uneventful. Finally, arriving at the gates of Relatar, Sagralin tried to bar Mav's way. As she lowered her hood to reveal who she was, a shout came from above. Looking up, Mav saw the Yathrin Arilani disappear from the window. The two guards moved back and allowed the travelers to enter. As Mav and the knight entered the courtyard, Arilani met them at the open doors. After greeting each other warmly, the young females went together to Mav's room. At the door, she commanded the Dark Knight to stand guard. With a curt nod, he complied. Arilana watched with interest as Mav opened her bag, retrieving her 3 ruined jars containing the beating hearts of her victim. Setting them on a shelf, she told Ari of her adventures. Then it was Ari's turn to speak of what had occurred. She told Mav of her encounter with Devon and the rose that he had gave her for safekeeping. Mav sensed something about the Yathrin when she spoke of Devon. Forgetting for a moment with whom she spoke, Mav finally told Ari of her intimate encounter with Relatar. Fully confident of the assassin's trust, Mavralyn spoke with passion and something else in her eyes. Seeing this, Arilani turned her gaze away from the young mistress. Kalis na us mizal taga dostin, Mavralyn, she spoke softly. I do not understand, Ari. Why did you tell me this? Mavralyn asked, her eyes narrowed, searching Ari's face. There is more to your story than you have told, she said with a question in her eyes. Mav waited, and finally the Yathrin related her meeting with the Velgar Jabuk. Traps and tricks. Arilani told Mavralyn of the assassin's seeming pursuit of her and his warning for her to be less trustful even of Mavralyn. Sensing the feeling Arilani harbored for the assassin, she whispered, I didn't know, Ari. You know I would never do anything. Arilani cut Mav off with a wave of her hand. I will not interfere if you wish to continue whatever it is that you have begun with this male, at least for now. What he does is no concern to me. After further discussion of the assassin's motives, Mavralyn declared firmly, I am not ready to give him up. Arilani then spoke plainly. Know this, Mavralyn. There is a part of me that needs the Velgala Jabuk for now. I too am not ready to set it aside. Coming to an understanding, the two spoke for a while longer, deciding to confront and perhaps trap him into revealing what game he played. Their decision made them laugh with wicked humor as they made their way to the inn later that day. Sending a summoning to Relatar to meet them, the two awaited his arrival to spring the trap. When he arrived at the inn, Relatar knew something was up. His quick glance took in the smug expressions of the 2 drow females as he bowed to Arilana and greeted both. Sensing a light tension between the two, Tarl inquired, Is there something you wish to discuss with me, Yathrin? Without threat, he moved behind Ari and began massaging her shoulders. Shooting a look of triumph at Mav, she replied, What would we possibly want to discuss with you? Mavralyn's eyes flashed momentarily with jealousy. Schooling her expression, she told the assassin, I believe that Aralani and I would appreciate some wine, casting a knowing look at Ari. They both smiled as Relatar, knowing his aversion to this small task. Do not add any herbs this time, Tarl, laughed Aralani mockingly, ignoring the Valgla Jabuk, and the two continued chatting. Relatar called the servant to bring 2 goblets and a bottle of wine. Once the wine arrived, he poured the Yathrin's wine first. As he passed the wine to her, their hands touched lightly, and he leaned over and kissed Ari's cheek tenderly. As Mavralyn watched, her eyes softened, accepting the bond between these two. Next, he poured Mavralyn's wine, but this time he tasted it. He leaned over and tilted her head back, kissing her passionately. Mav tasted the wine as it passed from his mouth to hers. Aralani's eyes darkened in memory, recalling another time with Tarl and a kiss of wine. Relatar stepped back, breaking the kiss. He looked at Ari and spoke softly. Yes, Lana, remember? With a triumphant look, Mavralyn laughed softly. It seems he chooses me. His fist clenched in anger as Tarl's eyes darted between them, and he spoke accusingly. What is it you two are doing? You have me choose between you? I am comfortable with the bond I have with both of you. Ari's eyes flashed in anger as she replied sharply, What makes you think the choice is yours? Would you have both of us? I think the decision is ours, Mavralyn said at the same time. Aralana, you already made your choice, Tarl spoke quietly. Rising from her chair, Aralana moved towards the drow assassin. As she placed her hands on his shoulders, Relatar turned to her. Looking from her sister to the Quell Varuk, Aralani's eyes dimmed as she stated, It is not I who makes this choice, Tarl. There is still much I need to learn before I find the path of Lot will choose for me. Kissing him lightly on the lips, she stepped away from Relatar. Sweeping across the room to the door, Aralani winked at both of them and left the inn. Games of interrogation. Once more with Tarl, Mav felt the familiar surge of desire he roused in her. Sensing the heat rising within her, the drow male's own passions flared. The flames of lust danced in her eyes as Mav turned towards the assassin and murmured a spell. Instantly her gown disappeared, and only a silver river of her hair veiled her from his view. His eyes traveled hungrily downward, enjoying the lovely curves of the sights before him. His hands clenched with the building desire as he felt for this new member of Relatar. Her eyes glowed like twin sapphires with promise he had as she stepped closer to the assassin and let her body brush against his. I've missed you, my gentle assassin, Mavralyn purred with sultry intent. Relatar knew he must question the Drowis on her recent activities and reined in the lust that threatened to distract him. In a calm voice he replied, And I you, my dark sweet. Mav stepped towards the bed, her hips swaying gently in further invitation. Settling upon it, she reclined back with a seductive maneuver she knew would excite the assassin further. A knowing smile curved her lips as she spoke in a low, husky voice. Come join me, Tarl. Moving with a silent grace of a cat, Relatar kept his thoughts hidden from the dangerous beauty before him. What he planned to do next could mean his death if he lost control of the situation. The assassin murmured a simple incantation to activate ropes that he knew hid beneath the bed. The ropes came to life and twined around Mav's wrists and ankles, securing her firmly to the posts before she knew what happened. Surprised, Mavralyn quickly schooled her features, but Tarl had seen the momentary flash of alarm in her sapphire depths. Struggling only a bit to test the strength of the bindings, Mavralyn uttered a soft laugh to cover her lapse of control. What game do you play now, my gentle assassin? When he didn't answer immediately, her eyes narrowed slightly in suspicion. As he moved towards a pitcher and bowl, she struggled a bit more and watched his progress warily. Pouring water into the shallow basin, Tarl reached into a small pouch and added a few herbs. Casting burning hands upon it, the water heated, immediately sending a fragrant odor through the room. Returning to the immobilized Drowis, he began to wash her with the scented liquid. As the burning hot water touched her sensitive skin, Mav realized this might not be a game. With a gasp of pain, she scolded Tarl. That is too hot. It scalds. With calm detachment, he replied, I merely wash you, my dark sweet. Am I not being gentle enough? Quickly, Maud decided this was enough. Murmuring the beginnings of a spell that would release her, her eyes flashed in anger at his audacity. Realizing what she tried. The Velgo Jabuk made a simple gesture that caused the ropes to pull sharply and broke the spell she chanted. "Do not try that again, Mavralyn," Relator said in a low, deadly tone. Pulling twin blades out, he showed them to the startled mistress. "I will use these if you do not answer truthfully to a few questions I have for you." Tarl placed the daggers close by and completed the task of washing. The hot water caused the dark flesh before him to flinch in minor pain. "Now I've finished washing the stink of rival paladins from your body. I want to know who. I want to know their names." Was that the jealous spark in his eyes? With subtle skill, the assassin interrogated the Drowess, using pain to disrupt her thoughts, followed by sensation of pleasure when she revealed truths. He methodically drew out the answers he sought. Mavralyn told him of the 3 paladins, Theodo being one of them. Relator questioned her further. "Why do you demean yourself with these rival knights of good?" "It is Lost's wish that I use them. Turn them to her path. Take their hearts in service to her," she gasped out. It seemed an endless barrage of questions followed, and though she answered truthfully, there was always pain, followed by pleasure. Finally satisfied with the answers he had gotten, Relator released the ropes and healed the pain. Mob, vulnerable at that moment, only stared upward with unseeing eyes. Still very new to the ways of the Drow, she did not know he had no right. Through the bond they shared, he knew exactly what she felt the whole time. Then, with a tenderness not quite understood, he showed her only passion's delight. Relator slowly rose from the bed and reached for his tidings, quickly dressing in his well-worn armor, given to him by his sister, and placing his matching blades across his shoulders in their normal carrying position. He turned to sit beside the resting Mavralyn, speaking only her name and brought to her instant awareness. Frowning slightly at the sight of him dressed, she inquired, "Are you leaving now?" "I must, for there are duties I must attend to, my dark sweet," he replied with a chuckle. "Are you not sated yet?" "Exus, for the moment I am," she answered with a lithe stretch of long limbs. "You may go then, but I do hope you return quickly," Mauve continued it with a hint of amusement. Reaching into his bag, Relator withdrew a heart-shaped pendant that hung at the end of an exquisitely made necklace. The necklace fashioned into an interweaving pattern of tiny strands of silver and mithril seemed to shimmer and move. An endless revolving pattern of spiders created an illusion of constantly crawling along thin strands. Placing it around her neck, he said in a low tone, "A gift for you, Mavralyn." Once more he reached into the bag and revealed a beautiful carved box. The box had slightly rounded edges, ornately designed lid resting on the top. The whole thing rested on what appeared to be an 8 spider-shaped legs. A portrait on the lid showed the Drow priestess worshipping the image aloft. Upon closer inspection of the magnificent depiction on the lid, Mauve realized the image was of her. Accepting these gifts, she looked at the Velga Jabluk with curiosity burning in her eyes. Before she could ask him, he slipped into the shadows with a quiet "Aloof, Mistress Mavralyn." And that's where we're going to end for today, as Mavralyn learns the hard way the intricacies and deceptions and maneuvering within Drow society, and how even a lowly male, can be so deceptive that he oversteps his stature, and she didn't catch on to it yet. Now you got to remember, Mavralyn is new to Drow at this point. She is a newly Drow priestess, and she is learning the ways. As the earlier stories told, she was a human that was transformed into Drow, so she wasn't raised in Drow society. So we get to see the interactions, the behaviors, the manipulations that go on inside Drow society. And it's this manipulations and interactions that make Drow so intriguing. I'll step away from these stories. I'm a big R.A. Salvatore fan. But his later books and D&D 5th edition and that, they made drow goodies. And I really didn't agree with that. And the same with orcs being goodies in general. Like I like the one-offs like Driz, and I had a half-orc character, Grud Bludgeon Beater in D&D, who's his entire life's purpose was to be noble and good and liked. But he had a 3 charisma and he was a half-orc. So that was never going to happen, the liking part. Like, human society was never going to accept him and like him. But it was his character and my roleplay to try to make it happen. So the one-off characters I like, but when you start taking an entire culture and saying, okay, you used to be lawful evil, but now you're chaotic good, it doesn't work for me. I prefer this drow society, not because I like the evil or anything like that, though I find it very compelling in a role play, but because it separates from the other elves. Like in the modern D&D, there's really no difference other than skin color between a drow and a wood elf and a high elf, and they're all basically the same. And I think that is a weakness of the modern D&D. That's my opinion. You're free to disagree. Come into the comments, disagree with me if you want. But that is my opinion of it. I think D&D was stronger when they had these set cultures. Be it evil, be it good, be it neutral, whatever. The societies. And Drow Society, if you've read any of Salvatore's books, Drow Society is just so spectacular and interesting, because it's not a good society. They are constantly backstabbing each other, manipulating each other, the mechanisms going on, and it makes for interesting reading. Just point blank, it makes for interesting reading, and it made for interesting roleplay. Like Kelfier, my character Kelfier was my first character I ever made. I actually made it in a game called Chivalry and Sorcery, and then we ported it over to D&D. But he was evil. He was lawful evil. But when I got online, I found out that I really suck at playing a lawful evil when I'm playing with other real people. Like in a D&D setting with a group of friends, okay, that's one thing, or just writing a story or something, that's another thing. But to be evil, constantly evil, just for the sake of being evil, I couldn't do it. Which is why I love the Drow so much, is because when I played Shadow Sin, he was lawful evil as well, but he wasn't going out and he wasn't going and kicking puppies. He wasn't that type of, he was a thinking evil. Everything he did, there was a reason, and it promoted his agenda. So yes, his outcome was evil, but he could work with a lawful good if it pushed his own agenda. Whereas you take your puppy kicking evil, and they can't work with lawful good or chaotic good because they're evil. Kill good. So anyway, I love the Drow Society for how intricate it is. The maculations that go on, the deceptions, the society. It's interesting. It's compelling. And that's what Mavralyn was writing about. At least that's how I look at it. Come into the comments. Tell me, what did you think of it? Do you take this away from her writings as I do, or did you take something else away? Please come in. Give me some feedback. I would love it. Also, as always, if you got any stories of your own you want me to read or share, please send them my way. And that's the video for today. If you like the video, leave a like, a subscribe, and a share. I'm trying to grow my channel, and a like, a subscribe, and a share does me wonders, and I do appreciate it. It takes 1 second to subscribe, costs you absolutely nothing, helps me immensely. Just hit the subscribe button on the bottom of the screen. If you're watching this on Rumble or Instagram, please follow my channels. Always feel free to leave a comment. I encourage everybody to leave a comment. Not only does it get us interacting, it really does help me with the YouTube algorithm and getting more eyes on my videos. And as always, pew 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 and shit. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.